Are you confident that if you had 6 to 8 weeks on it?
Now he faces a challenge without precedent. The Royal Academy has handed him the entire gallery, an honour it has offered no other living artist.
Well, like a lot of the people here, we're just making whatever Anish wants, really. It's quite a heavy piece, this one, because we want it to really keep its form, just to be there, just floating, really. I tend to make it up to the point where it then starts getting finished.
I sort of get the glory bit with Anish, because he's basically just really keen on the final finish. He's you know, not so interested in the process before that. He's sometimes really difficult to work with, so you've got to get into this state with him where he's happy with what he's looking at. So it's just a case of reading his mind, and that's not always very easy to do.
You know, at the moment it's matte.
Yeah.
Will be, I think, glossy. The paint, in fact, we've just sort of sanded it down, and it's about to be polished.
Of course, like with any sculpture, I suppose, where you place yourself in relation to the body, in relation to sculpture, alters things. But there are all kinds of things that change as you walk around this object, aren't there? You can experience it in lots of different ways.
Yeah.
As I turn this corner, I have a completely other experience.
Well, the first thing is you realise it's a much longer object than you thought it was.
Yes.
So, you know, it's become bigger.
That journey took rather longer than I expected.
Yeah. But also, it's little things, but the light's different there than it is here.
And the sound's different.
The sound's different. So it's like the lens on the camera, where light crosses. And I suggest that that's a kind of mystical moment, where things are different. They're different there than they are here.
The work is not bound by the studio walls. In a shipyard in Holland, one of the largest pieces in the exhibition is being assembled. Made from Corten steel, Anish Kapoor is seeing it for the first time.
The first thing is, you know, does it work? Does it do what I set out to do? You know, I believe it does. These guys are great shipbuilders, and more important than anything else, they can hold these complex curves, hold to a particular geometry, and have it be accurate. I must say they've done a fantastic job. The issue I'm trying to deal with at the moment is how the object, or how the skin of it is. You know, are we going to keep it black, or am I going to rust it? It's a hard decision. You know, sculpture's, of course, supposedly all about material, but material is a subtle thing. It makes a huge difference. So I want to go and see what's going on there. That's a little bit of a problem for me, Allard.
In order to choose the right finish, he asks for some of the metal to be rusted so he can compare the two surfaces. It requires a chemical to accelerate the process.
Can we get some in the next 2 hours?
We'll try and make a call.
Okay. I mean, really, I'd like to do this whole section.
The whole section?
Uh-huh.
And we need a lot of it.
Yes.
And we need a lot of more.
There is a contradiction, because the material isn't made to go black. The material's made to rust.
That's right.
There's something about its sort of muteness. Black, that I quite like. Fucking hard decision.
The installation begins at the Royal Academy, and having decided on a finish, the steelwork is reassembled in the central gallery.
The
biggest thing I've ever done in my career, and I've been here for 9 years, so... And I think, actually, it's been the biggest thing that the RA's ever had to handle, it seems, in terms of an installation. Well, the logistics of getting it into the building are huge. I mean, we've got so many restrictions on size and dimensions of our lift, and getting the pieces actually into the building have been enormously difficult. It's definitely a huge, exciting thing to be involved in.
This kind of steel doesn't do black very well, so I let it do what it does do well. There's a lot to do, a hell of a lot to do, slight feeling of panic, but we'll get there. I think one has to have those two things in a certain balance, certainty and a sense that, you know, something is on a kind of edge. My father was a hydrographer in the Navy, so he was moved to a place called Dehradun, which is in North India, foothills of the Himalayas, at the time an incredibly beautiful valley. But in the sticks, out there. My brother and I went to the Doon School, which was a rather, how can I put it?
The Eton of...
Yeah, indeed, a rather posh school. We were a bit different. You know, in a way we probably cherished that differentness.
Were you interested in art as a child, and where did that come from?
My parents are both extremely cosmopolitan. Music and art played a big role in our family. But I never imagined for 1 second that I would be an artist. I mean, it didn't even occur to me. My mother, you know, dabbled in fashion and did some painting, but she could never finish anything. So I would always finish them for her, which I loved doing too. I loved making things, and I did that all through my childhood. Guns, it was bombs, it was all the stuff boys do, you know.
His mother was an Iraqi Jew, and Anish, aged 17, went to work on a kibbutz with his brother in the relatively young state of Israel.
So two young teenagers emigrate to Israel without their parents. And I suppose what the Israeli government, who were recruiting, I suppose, immigrants.
Yeah, they paid for us to go there, and we arrived somewhat bewildered, I've got to say, more than somewhat bewildered, and went to a kibbutz, beautiful kibbutz, Gan Shmuel. The context was that somewhere amongst the youth, this kind of communal living mattered, and that we were going to make a new world in some way or the other. And as a naive 17-year-old, it was fabulous.
After 3 years in Israel, he hitchhiked across Europe and enrolled at Hornsey College in London to study art.
That, for me, was just total sense of liberation. I felt like it was a true coming home. It's the first time I was doing something that I truly loved. And I slowly started trying to see, what does it mean to be an artist? I never called myself an artist. I felt it was too big a responsibility. I didn't, in other words, it felt like a serious thing to me, really serious thing. I was massively over-sincere about it, I'm sure. But nonetheless, I'd never call myself an artist. I worked all the time that God gave, and I did anything, you know, plaster, which is cheap. I remember many occasions I'd sweep the dust up from the corner of the studio and use it.